It's Archie from Brown Bear Herbs. I'm here today with my friend, Cutie. He's pretty excited. You can tell from his face that he is really excited about me sitting still long enough that he can cuddle me. Anyway, but I wanted to talk about contemplative smokes. Mostly thinking of clear mind and gentle and protective, but I'm also going to talk about Astral a little bit. Those are cigarettes or smoking blends that you can use when you want to feel more centered. They're all great for that. I would say Astral is great for that if there's an intense full moon. But clear mind and gentle and protective are really helpful during all the times in the month, depending on how you're feeling inside. Clear mind is made with gotu kola, linden, spearmint, and mullein. The mullein is in all the blends. It helps protect your lungs. The spearmint and the linden are both helpful at cooling your emotions. So it does address your emotions, but it really helps just clear out emotions that are making your brain less sharp and clear, basically. And then gotu kola has been used traditionally in Ayurvedic medicine for mental clarity, memory loss, stuff like that. So it's three very focusing herbs, and I feel like it gives kind of a post-yoga, post-meditation vibe as much as one can do with herbs. So you smoke it and tend to sit up straight and feel more centered, and it can be really helpful if you want to do a contemplative or meditative ceremony, something like that, but also great if you just want to do your taxes or something nitty-gritty that maybe you're normally a little bit scattered. Linden, I think, has historically been used for ADHD. So yeah, it's really good for just bringing that mind to focus on the task, whether that's the task is being present and centering, or the task is using your brain for some task. And originally I made it for artists and creatives who smoke while they are doing their creative work. Some people use tobacco in that way, and this is a great alternative because you're not going to need to smoke as much because you're not dealing with the addiction. You're just using the herbs as medicine. So it's a risk reduction method. I found out along the way that this blend is loved by people who enjoy marijuana. And I think that is partly because it's just clearing up some of the side effects of marijuana that aren't as fun, like memory issues and fuzzy-headedness. But I also think that there's not a lot of one thing that I really like for myself is things that sharpen your brain without making you overly stimulated. I find coffee and tea and anything with caffeine in it really to be overstimulating. And so herbs like the ones in Clear Mind and rosemary, the way that I use it in my Mother's Little Helper and Artist Dream Tea, those are herbs that you can use to bring mental clarity without interfering with your sleep or making you feel too on edge. Clarity without overstimulation. It's a beautiful thing. So I feel like that's something that somebody who enjoys marijuana, that's not somebody who's seeking stimulation all the time. That's somebody who's kind of trying to chill. Just because you want to chill doesn't mean you also don't have mental clarity when you need it. So it's great for those people. If you are one of those people and you have extra insight to share with me, I would appreciate it. Please drop a comment so that I know what makes it great for you. Definitely because it has spearmint in it, it's popular for people who like menthols, but I just will say it's just spearmint. It's not an oil or some kind of artificial flavor. So it's more the feeling of mint rather than the that strong flavor. Yeah. So gentle and protective is less mental and more like spiritual and emotional, the way that it affects you. It is made with mullein, again, for your lungs, but also for its protective properties. It's made with raspberry leaf and lavender. And the herbs that we use are all organically grown. If they are wildcrafted, then they're tested to make sure they don't have any chemicals in them. So they're tested to know that they're not like made with gross chemicals. So you can feel good about what you're smoking and putting in your body. So gentle and protective, I think of it as the one for when you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed or psychically overwhelmed. Some people who are like indigo children or woo-woo or, there's a lot of different terms for that, but you're like sensitive to other people's emotions. You're sensitive to like the vibes in the room. Those people can really benefit from lavender. And that's a good sleep remedy too. Like if you are psychically sensitive, then he's back. Then a lavender pillow can be really helpful for insomnia if you have that problem. Lavender is a cool herb because it's balancing. So if you're feeling like overly stimulated, it's calming. If you're feeling kind of sluggish, it's stimulating enough to get you to a place of balance. I love lavender, and it smells really good when you burn it too. It smells good when you smoke it, and it smells good with people who are around you. It doesn't smell exactly the same as like an oil, lavender oil, but I think it's probably that and sexy smokes are my favorite smokes to smell burning. I love it. I cannot stand tobacco smoke. If there's the chemicals, like I get an allergic reaction. So it's a totally different ballgame from smoking regular cigarettes to smoke brown bear herbs, herbal smoking blends. I really made them to help people quit smoking. So for this gentle and protective one, I was looking at like people who are smoking from stress, like say you've lost a loved one, you're going through a divorce, bad breakup, stuff like that, where you're like, maybe you quit before and you're like, now that I'm stressed, I need a cigarette and I need a cigarette bad. Well, that's a great time to have a gentle and protective. You don't restart your addiction. You give yourself the like actual medicine, and you satisfy that like unhealthy habit with something that's not addictive. So the habit is that you want to smoke a cigarette. That's unhealthy for you, but you're doing it in a way that's not going to like restart that addiction. And it's great. I don't consider myself a smoker because I smoke so rarely and I'm not addicted. It's more like being a chamomile tea drinker. Like I do it when I need it. Maybe every month or so. But like there have been times when I was having a really hard time where I would smoke a GNP a day or something like that. And it made such a huge difference in my gentle protective, in my emotional well-being, and just the feeling that I get from it. It's like, feels like a fairy godmother is like hugging you, or just very soothing. Feels like your energy field is being like calmed down. Yeah, raspberry leaf is an amazing herb for comparing the tea tincture and smoke, like how different it feels. And to me, it's like the energy, how it affects your energy body when you smoke is so palpable. And it's just a really comforting feeling. So if you're feeling emotional, reach for a gentle protective. That also is a good one for, like ceremonial work, like releasing emotions. You're just basically asking plant allies to help you, and you can talk to the plants. I recommend it. I learned about plants by doing plant meditations. I started having experiences with herbs and having healing with them, but then when I decided I wanted to learn about them, I was like, I don't want to go to a program of study first, like a naturopath program or something like that. I want to learn about them intuitively. So I started doing plant meditations. I've been doing meditation for a long time, so it was natural for me. And I loved getting to know the plants that way. And they can communicate very well through meditation or through dream time if you're a dreamer. And now is a great time to start a dream practice. If you want to learn about herbs, I would take herbs that aren't known to be super stimulating before bed, and ask for the dream to teach you, and then record what you learn and see if you notice connections. Like when I'm doing plant meditations, I will feel like different parts of my body being activated. Like if it's a lung herb, I might feel more energy in my lungs. Sometimes you'll feel like a clearing. At other times, you might feel like what the plant is good for. So you might feel like tightness or heat or whatever it is. So, and then sometimes it's like a different kind of song will like pop into your head and you're like, that's not a song I thought about for years. And that song's really inspiring. And I think this plant is inspiring, and this plant wants to make me feel better about myself. Yeah, so it's really fun. It's really fun to do plant meditations with other people. So if you have a friend who's into plants, or maybe somebody you even meet online, that's a great activity to do together, to have either do meditations with the plant and then discuss your experiences, or you could do the before bed, have a dream and discuss your dreams. And that's going to, with a friend, or by yourself, that's going to benefit you anyways, because it helps to look at your dreams. But then if you have somebody to reflect that with, you might say, this dream was different, or I felt like this dream was related to this herb, and what was your experience? And yeah, it's a great way to learn about plants. Really fun. And then later I started studying more formally, but that's how I got started. It was great. Okay, and then the last one is another herb I was going to say, if you are feeling emotional, is lemon balm. That it is in Gorilla Puffs, but I also sell it as a tincture. And you need to tincture lemon balm fresh, or it grows all around Portland. I don't know where you live, but if it's growing fresh, it's in the mint family. It's really easy to gather and make tea from. The oils are what is the active part of the plant. So the dried version is not going to be helpful. You could, however, chop it up fresh and make it into ice cubes and have those in your freezer for a time when it's not fresh. But that Melissa is the Latin name for lemon balm. And I think from plant meditations, I really felt like you could call on Melissa if you needed a friend. And so also great for public speaking and stuff like that. If you have any type of emotional stress where you get stomach aches, Melissa. And you don't need big doses, and it's safe for kids. So a tea of the fresh herb for kids if they have to do a school presentation, or the ice cube melted down into a tea for kids for nervous in front of other people type stuff, or just if you're starting to come into puberty, or you're been over puberty for a long time, but you have those emotional days, Melissa is your buddy. Not good for people with certain thyroid disorders, so be cautious with that. But yeah, I love Melissa. I guess even if you had a thyroid disorder, you could do, I'm sure you could find Melissa flower essence. And that would be the energetics of it, and rather than the physical properties. And so you'd still get emotional support. Oh yeah. And then Astral Body. I think Astral Body is possibly the funniest. It's definitely the funniest blend. It is. I do love Astral Body. I would recommend smoking it for intense full moons. Really great if you're doing some sort of ritual with the moon, related to the moon, like a new moon or full moon ritual. If it's the new moon, you're probably not going to be feeling a lot of intense feelings unless it's like a really incompatible with your chart. But for the full moon, a lot of times you're either feeling like physically strained or emotionally strained. It's because the moon represents your emotions and the sun represents your body, and they are at odds with each other. It's just normal. So if you're somebody who feels good on the new moons, you're probably going to be feeling good in one of those areas, but not both. Like, I felt so energetic today, but like, it was kind of, everybody was being kind of unpleasant. Or you might feel like, emotionally I felt awesome, but I am beat. I am so tired. So the mugwort in that blend can really help with the moon, but the other herbs, blue vervain and yarrow, are amazing at kind of like grounding that. So you're feeling like the name Astral Body. You're feeling like your astral body, your energetic body, but you're feeling it around your physical body. And so that's a really nice treat, I think, because a lot of times when people are like, people I know who are sensitive, even myself, like if I'm around mugwort, it can make you feel so spacey that you're just like floating away. And I think it's really valuable to be connected with the ground, the earth, your body, and be grounded. I think that's, I don't like I love to meditate. I love spiritual work and spiritual practices, but I like to stay like rooted in my physical body. I feel like that's very practical. I'm an herbalist, so what can I say? I'm in love with the earth, even if I love the spirit too. So it's really nice to be able to work with mugwort in a blend so that you're not feeling floaty and connected with the moon's energy. You're feeling like solid energy, the energy of things going on, but not like the stress of that energy. So yeah, it was like originally made for, I was experimenting for Astral Body to be like a holiday smoke for going to like weird work parties or like high school reunions, types of things where you're going to be interacting with like people that have different sensibilities than you, to get the vibe into more of like a, what I would call interesting, like more creative and eccentric, I would say. As yarrow and blue vervain are more like eccentric in vibe, I would say. Yarrow was used like, hundreds of years ago in weddings, in alcohol, to just make people just like totally wild. And I think that that's what can make this, when used socially, not privately, a pretty wacky smoke. It depends how sensitive you are. It's not no controlled substances, but if you're like a sensitive person, then you can be feeling that. So it was originally like supposed to be a party smoke, but when me and the people I was working with at the time were experimenting with it, it happened to be a super full moon. And it was so amazing because we smoked it and we felt so much better. It was a really intense moon and we were all feeling it. And then we smoked it and we were like, oh, like this is fine. The rest of the world may not be fine, but we're fine. And we really, that was like a session when we channeled tuned in to our plant meditation and like wrote all the crutches for that. So there's a lot of moon ones. So yeah, I think that if you're doing a moon ritual, this would be a great, Astral Body would be a great smoke for solo work with the moon. And it's not solo, I guess it's you and the moon. And then you have it around for having fun socially too. It's a multi-purpose smoke. But anyway, I love ceremonial work. I love meditation, spiritual work. And a lot of that is about becoming centered and staying grounded. And these are some of the plants that I work with that I found that can help. And you know what? It's fine to ask for help. Therapy is great. Going to yoga classes is great. There's all sorts of great self-care tools out there. And these are just a few more that you can use that you can communicate with on a certain level, that you can ask to teach you how to be calming. And some of it's physical. Like if you have ADHD and you're smoking an herb that's helpful for ADHD, like linden, that's like cooling your brain. So that's like anti-inflammatory on your brain. I mean, there's like studies about it, research it on your own, but and there's like historical use for a lot of the things. That's what I base my stuff on, and experiences of myself and people I know. But it's, why not have more friends, more plant friends? Anyway, I hope you enjoy the blends as needed and they help you, support you. Whatever your experiences are, I'd love to hear them. Have a great day. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. You can find our products at brownbearherbs.com.